Good morning, I'm Steve Izant. Thanks for having me on the show. Well, I have the luxury of pursuing acting full-time. Actually, I used to say that I act full-time. The truth of the matter is, as most actors know, I audition full-time. And that means I occasionally get something. So I've been in some small movies that you've never heard of, that you'll never see. I've done some commercials that have actually been on television. I've been in a few plays. I do some voiceover work. But I have the luxury of pursuing my craft, anything that interests me. How I got started is a little unusual. I had never done any acting before up until about 3 years ago. I retired in 2005, and like most people that retire, I thought to myself, what am I going to do for my next life? Because I was too young to be just sitting around. I was reading an article in the newspaper about a guy who had retired and what he was doing, and there were a couple of sentences in there about how that he had started doing work as an extra in films, and he gave the name of a website, and I thought, well, why don't I try that? So I registered with that website, and that's how I got started. I did not do any kind of acting. I've never been in a high school play. My job was an unusual one in that I was with the same company for 35 years. It was my first job out of school, and 35 years later I was still with them. Most people in America can't do that these days, and I'm not even sure that I could do it again. But after 35 years, I decided that I'd had enough. My last position with that company was new business development, which means that I go out and I try and get contracts for the company. But I wanted to do something different. So the first job that I had, interestingly enough, I didn't have to audition for, and to be even more unusual, my first job was a paying gig, as they call it. Now, most actors, when they start out, have to do a lot of free work just to build up their resume, but registering with this website, I lucked out. All I had was a headshot and what they call special abilities. And special abilities means nothing more than something that you do, whether it's swimming or running or skateboarding, whether you're animal friendly, those are special abilities. So my first gig was with a 30-second advertisement for a local hotel and resort, and it was a woman who was doing what they call a voiceover, and while she was talking about how wonderful this place was, there were scenes of happy people checking in, happy people in a business environment, happy people in a restaurant. And well, I was one of those happy people. So it took about 2 hours to film myself and my partner sitting at a table, kind of pushing our food around the plate. We finally got to eat it. It was a little cold, but it was pretty good. But 2 hours to film that. So finally the commercial started to appear on local television, ABC, NBC, CBS here in Washington, D.C. And my friends started calling me saying, hey, I saw you, I saw you. And I somehow just couldn't catch seeing that ad. But finally, I did. So that was my film debut. I was on for less than a second, but it was local TV and I got paid for it. So that was a good start. Since that time, there's a number of things that I have not been paid for, but I did them because they seemed interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people that want to be actors don't have that luxury. They have to try and work every day. And that's something that I should mention as an aside, that if you want to be an actor, it's not something that you can do on an occasional basis. You have to work every day at your craft, whether it's looking for auditions, whether it is reading scripts or memorizing them for upcoming things, whether it's taking classes. Every single day you have to be working at your craft because, as one of my early teachers told me, it's a business. As much fun as it might be, as much work as it might want to be, at the end of the day, it's a business, and if you're going to be successful, you have to work at your craft.
Good morning, my name is Patrick Gore. I'm a program specialist at the Smithsonian Institution Accessibility Program. Today, with Steve Izant, we are recording a portion of the Smithsonian Air and Space magazine. My responsibilities as a program specialist at the Accessibility Program is to produce the content of the Smithsonian magazines, the Air and Space, the Zoo Goer. In conjunction with that, we produce it here in the studio. I take it into my office, produce it into MP3 WAV format, put it onto a originally coded website as an individual file, as a large WAV file, and also as an audiobook file for people with disabilities to download, put onto a CD, or put onto their iPad, iPod Touch, or their iPhone. We also cater to people with disabilities to visit the museum. The Smithsonian offers numerous things such as tactile tours, things of that nature, and we are the buffer for these people to contact the museums to sort of use these services we provide.
I mentioned earlier that I had the luxury of retiring and doing what I want to do. One of the things that I do want to do is a little volunteer work to try and give back. I've been so fortunate in my life. So there's two things that I do. We're here now in the Smithsonian Museum, the American History Museum, and once a month I come into this little studio and I read Air and Space magazine. It's a magazine put out by the Smithsonian folks. They're also famous for their magazine just called Smithsonian. So what I do is I read this magazine into this microphone, which goes into a computer, and later on some people sort of massage it, and then ultimately people that are visually handicapped can dial in and can hear the Smithsonian magazine and Air and Space read into a computer, so they hear it over their telephone. I also do the same thing with the Washington Post. Every Monday morning at about 6 a.m. I'm in a small studio in Silver Springs, Maryland, and I and some other volunteers read the Washington Post into a computer for folks that are visually handicapped. So it's a small effort on my part just to give a little bit back to the community, but it's something that I enjoy doing, and I hope that my acting skills and my voiceover work makes for clarity of sound when those that are dialing in hear me. So we're going to start in just a second for the magazine that I have to read this month. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Laura Reichert, professional actress, drama coach, and director. As you establish yourself as an actor, eventually you'll join one of the three unions, SAG, AEA, or AFTRA, or you may join all three. SAG and AFTRA are film, television, radio unions, and AEA is the Actors Equity Association, which is for theater. By being a part of the union, you establish yourself as having worked enough credentials to be a professional performer. And many agents in big cities like New York and LA prefer actors who have already joined the union. Also, by being a member of the union, you understand what your rights are when you are on set or backstage. You're covered with compensation if you are hurt on set. You're also able to put funds into a retirement fund, as well as you can also check in with the union anytime you have questions about what's happening. They protect your rights, and you feel safer knowing that you're a part of the union. I highly recommend you joining the unions, and to find out how you can do that, go to each union's website, and they'll have a complete description about what sort of acting work you can do to get into the unions.
Okay, voice acting, for those of you who don't know, is the process of using your voice, just recording it, and having it put into an animated feature. So, for those of you who watch Star Wars and Clone Wars on Cartoon Network, all the voices you hear, those are voice actors. You don't necessarily have to go through a whole ton of training, but it's just a matter of being able to change your voice and show the emotion through your voice. With theater, you use your body a lot. You use body language to convey your emotions. Film, you have to be more subtle. Voice acting, yeah, you can use your body when you're recording, but all of the emotion and everything, you have to be able to hear it in your voice. For those of you who like anime, the Funimation studio is actually located down in Texas, and they have a list of voice actors, and they call them up. They have demo reels, just like actors. Actors for film and theater have their demos where they take clips from the movies they've been in and put a compilation for directors and people to see. Voice actors, it's a collection of your voice. So being able to sound like Darth Vader one minute and say Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist the next is a good talent to have, to be able to switch those voice acting skills. That's singing, especially, because singing helps you learn how to control your vocal cords to be able to inflect your voice. So it's a different aspect of the industry that you don't have to be on camera. If you're camera shy, you can be in a room no one else sees you in, and the only ones there are the people behind the glass that you can't see, and you're just recording. So it's pretty simple. I've done quite a bit of that: World of Warcraft, Star Wars, Star Trek, different animes. You can even record audiobooks. Audiobooks are actually a big thing right now. Just like for record your favorite books. Even you can do it on your own to get a feel for it. Get a mic from Walmart and then plug it in, take a book you like, and then just start reading and see how you feel about hearing your own voice and changing it there. And see if you like that first before necessarily going out for auditions for it. Just like that, voiceactingalliance.com. It has a whole ton of anime auditions for fan dubs. Fan dubs are where the person doing it, so like the kid next door, takes the audio, the original voice acting out of the films, cartoons, whatever it is, and then recasts it with amateur voice actors like myself. So realistically, you could take an episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars, take out all the voice acting, and you could do the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin, Ahsoka. So and then you can play around with it, try and imitate. Just like that. Sometimes there's actors that can't do it, but you sound enough like them that they want that sound of the voice, you can do it, there's a good chance you can be hired to do it. So it's just a different aspect to look into when considering different options in the entertainment industry.
If you would like more information about voiceover acting, please visit www.voiceactingalliance.com. If you are under the age of 18, please consult an adult for help.
Hi, I'm Viola Epps, guest host on A Taste of Honey TV, and today we're here with Tarney. She's a triple threat, and I'm going to let you listen to a little bit about her and how she got started in the business. So Tarney, tell me, what is your full name?
My full name is Tarney Kendall Hudson, and I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, wow. So you're an actress, model, singer, triple threat, like I said.
Yes,
Tell
ma'am.
me, how'd you get started in the business?
I started singing when I was 3 in my father's church.
Of course.
And I started doing television and commercials by the time I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
And I hosted a Saturday morning television show for Channel 6, which is still in Richmond.
That's
And
fantastic.
it was really, really fun. It came on Saturday mornings during National Geographic. We did commercials for Richmond and different products like that. I've done some catalog work. I went to California for a little while to do the World Championships of Performing Arts.
Oh, that's
I did that in
fantastic.
2007 and won some gold medals. It was fun.
So what do you like best? Do you like the acting, the singing, the dancing?
I like theater, where you get to act and sing at the same
Theater.
time. Musical theater is my favorite.
Fantastic.
And of course, singing in church.
Now let me ask you, Theater 4 is very big in Richmond. Have you done anything with Theater 4?
I just did the flash mob, which
Did
was at the Science
you?
Museum of Virginia.
Absolutely
It was
have
fantastic.
to see that.
Yes, it's on YouTube. We did a
Okay.
huge flash mob during the Culture Fair.
That
in
is
Richmond.
wonderful. So what are you working on now? Do you have any projects in the works that we should be looking out for?
Not at this time. I've just been working in small things. I just finished at Richmond Triangle Players, doing This Beautiful City during the Acts of Faith Festival in Richmond. And I'm right now working on my dissertation. So I've been in school full-time too.
What school are you in?
Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU.
The best, of
Yes.
course. Love VCU. Go Rams.
Go Rams.
Tiny, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you.
And much success in your future.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great
We head to the music capital, Nashville, Tennessee, for the 2012 Country Music Awards. The nominees, the winners, and then we hit the streets for raw Nashville talent. Stay tuned to the next episode of A Taste of Honey TV.